Welcome to my channel. This is JC Rock and Metal Reviews. My name is John. Today I'm reviewing the new album by Annihilator, which is actually a re-recording of their 2007 album called Metal. So the album has many different guest stars, from many different metal bands. We have like Dave Lombardo, the ex-drummer of Slayer here, and many others. I will talk about them as I go along. Quick background on the band Annihilator. They're a Canadian thrash metal band. They've been around for a while. They are considered to be part of like the big four of Canadian thrash metal bands, along with like Voivod, Sacrifice, and Razor. They've also been around since 1989. They released their debut album, Alice in Hell. That's a really great album. Kind of mixes thrash metal with like neoclassical guitar playing. And this band has been very consistent in releasing albums since then. So this is their 18th album. They've been releasing albums like every 2 or 3 years, like since their debut. This is the follow-up to Ballistic Sadistic from 2020, and I did do like a mini review of that in my top 5 thrash metal albums of 2020 video. So all songs feature the band Annihilator, Dave Lombardo, and Stu Block. He is one of the former vocalists of Iced Earth, and I will mention the other guests as I go along, so I'm just going to go through the songs now. First song is called Chasing the High. This one has William Adler from Lamb of God. First track is a banger, very fast-paced thrash metal song. Some of the riffs reminiscent of that like Master of Puppets era Metallica. Vocals very harsh and brutal. Drumming is very fast and frenetic. The song has a sound maybe close to even like death metal. It's very heavy. They add in some of those like neoclassical riffs that they were known for in those early days, and pretty cool clean breakdown in the middle of the song. So this is a really great way to start out the album. Second track is called Downright Dominate. This one has Alexi Lyle from Children of Bottom. That I guess they recorded the tracks back in 2007. Slower song, kind of has like a very technical riff. Reminds me a little more of like that 90s Pantera with that groove metal sound. The vocals do sound a little like Phil Anselmo on this one, but you're gonna see like Annihilator is one of those bands. They like to kind of be very like derivative of like other bands, but that's just kind of who they are. Track 3 is called Army of One. This one has Steve Lips Kudlow from Anvil. That's another like long-lasting Canadian band. Cool song. Has more of a crossover thrash sound. Nice fast pace with heavy riffs. Vocals are harsh, but kind of easy to understand the lyrics. Catchy chorus. Some nice hooks in the song, and some like death growls. So this is another heavy song. Next is Couple Suicide. This one has Danko Jones and Angela Gossau. She's was from Arch Enemy. The song opens with kind of like a modern rock riff, but it does get heavy as it moves along. Now the song's a little catchier and accessible than the other songs, and they did do a video for this. They released as a single. Kind of like a thrash light type of song, I guess. Angela Gossau does some like harsh and clean vocals, but she is kind of kept in the background. Next is a cover song called Heavy Melomaniac by the band Exciter, and Exciter is like a Canadian thrash metal band, and they were actually one of the first thrash metal bands. They released their album like right before Metallica's Kill 'Em All. And just pretty straightforward song, straightforward cover. Next is Haunted. This one has Jesper Stromblad from In Flames. Fast-paced song with some heavy riffs. Another one reminiscent of like that early Metallica or Slayer classic thrash metal sound. So if you like thrash metal, this song gives you like everything you would want. Shredding solos, heavy riffs, tight rhythm section. They add in some funky bass at one point. I like that. Then they go into like this atmospheric breakdown with like the clean guitars. So in the breakdown, you do hear a verse section with some like Hetfield-inspired vocals. So it's like an 8-minute song, kind of structured similar to like Master of Puppets, where it's like heavy, then light, then heavy, but pretty cool song. Another cover. Romeo Delight, Van Halen cover. This is probably from Women and Children First, probably one of the heaviest Van Halen songs. Faithful to the original, they kind of just turn up the heaviness a little. Next is Detonation. This one has Jacob Linham from the band Linham. This song is very reminiscent of like Black Sabbath, Children of the Grave, but Annihilator has always been a band that does make music that is very derivative of other metal bands. It's a cool song, slower song, still has those heavy riffs. Song with some cool hooks, and it's a catchy and accessible song, and also some heavy like death metal style vocals in the song. Next is Clown Parade. This one has Jeff Loomis. He's from both Arch Enemy and Nevermore. Song reminds me a lot of like 80s metal church. Not very fast paced, has some cool riffs in it. They do some like classic like Iron Maiden style, those like whoa, those type of vocals in the song, but pretty cool. After that is Smothered. This one has Anders Björler from At the Gates and the Haunted. Straightforward thrash metal. Does have like a breakdown with some atmospheric guitar riffs in the background, some fast drum sections, and has a very heavy shredding solo. And the last song called Kicked. Very different, has like a jazz inspired opening riff, but the song is heavy. It does get heavy as it progresses. You know, you have some blast beats, some heavy, like those galloping machine gun riffs, and the vocals very reminiscent of 90s Pantera again. Lots of shredding and heavy riffs. So in conclusion, you know, at this point in the band's career, they're not trying to reinvent the wheel. They just want to kind of write thrash metal songs that are catchy, they're accessible, have some cool hooks, you know, throwback to that early 80s sound, the early Metallica, Megadeth. Their sound is very derivative, so you're going to hear lots of like influence from Metallica, Megadeth, Sabbath, Maiden, Priest. You know, knowing that the albums are just fun to listen if you're a fan of classic metal and thrash. You know, they give you what you want. You know, cool thrash metal songs that you remember after one or two listens. You know they're not original, but at this point in the band's career, that's kind of like what they do. You know, I do look forward to their albums when they release them. You know, I know it'll just be like a fun album. It's not going to be anything groundbreaking, but it just, you know, I like that classic thrash sound, and it's a sound that, you know, not a lot of bands are doing. You know, there are thrash bands out now, but they're kind of like doing a more of like a modern style. This is just that like throwback sound, and for that reason, just the enjoyability factor alone, I give it an 8 out of 10. And let me know in the comments what you thought. So my next video will be tomorrow. Will be a Saxon ranking. You know, they have a really big discography, and I still need some time to prepare it. I got to go back and listen to so many albums and such. So this one has been kind of like a work in progress because it is a very long ranking. On Sunday, I'll put up a community post, some video ideas for next week that you can vote on for the next 2 videos. Please remember, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll stick some other videos there if you want to check out some of my other stuff. And see you all in the next one.